order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Can't see from here, but we know. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, Lane will read our board norms. Okay.
These are the board norms for the Special Administrative Board of the Riverview Gardens. Riverview Gardens School District. We are a cohesive team. We pause to listen, to hear all voices after someone speaks. We consider all opinions. We assume positive intentions. Number two, we are a collective agreement, collective voices to reach decisions, honor and respect the work of the board, honoring and supporting the board decisions at all times. Number three, be prepared for meetings. The board will review the packet and submit questions within the designated established time frame. Members of the board will arrive 15 minutes prior to the start of the meetings. Administration will send board packets to the SAB within the identified time frame. Number four, not allow outside entities to dictate board actions. SAB decisions will be made based on facts, policies, and procedures, not individuals' opinions or requests. Number two, educate and encourage the community to follow proper protocols for voicing concerns. And that is in standard with policy KC, community engagement. Thank you.
Chairman, we have a roll call vote, please. Present. At this time, I'd like to request a motion approval of the agenda. It was moved by Dr. Yvonne Elliott. Second. And second by Pastor Harsley. At this time, we'd like to call. Get a roll call vote. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, it has been motion and approved to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. At this time, we'd like to call for Ishmael Suckett with the Riverview Excellence.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board members, Dr. Pruitt-Adams, colleagues, community, and scholars. We want to especially thank our community members for coming out tonight. We're in a different location. Hopefully, not too many people went to the central office location, but it seems like everybody found their way here. And so, first, for Riverview Excellence, we want to recognize the Special Administrative Board. So the month of March, communities across the state will honor the dedicated service of their local school boards of education for School Board Recognition Month. And so the goal is to build awareness and understanding of the important function of an election board. Missourians benefit every day from the dedicated energies and countless hours. I'm sure that you all can attest to the countless hours you spend. And so we just want to recognize the Riverview Garden School District Special Administrative Board for Board Recognition Month. Dr. Pruitt Adams has a proclamation that she wants to read, and we'll also have a video at the end. But
good evening, community and or Board of Education. Just a reminder, this means I'm short. Just a reminder, at the conclusion of the board meeting, there will be a reception in the library. We encourage everyone to join us. Also to our board, as you can see behind you, and what Ms. Fields and Dr. Patton are passing out is just the love that this school district has for each and every one of you, for giving tirelessly of your service at no cost to the district. So thank you for that. But I do have a proclamation from the governor that I would like to read, and then each of you will receive a certificate. From the office of the governor, state of Missouri. Whereas a system of quality public education is essential to the future of our state, nation. Whereas the people of Missouri have a long tradition of support for public education and their local school district. And whereas local school boards are the ultimate expression of the unique American institution of representative governance of public school districts. And whereas local school boards acting on behalf of and in close connection with the people of their communities chart the direction of education in their communities. And whereas local school boards serve as the key community advocate for children, youth, and public schools. Now, therefore, I, Michael L. Parson, Governor of the state of Missouri, do hereby proclaim March 2024 to be School Board Recognition Month in Missouri. In testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the grand seal of the state of Missouri and the city of Jefferson this 29th day of January, and is signed by the governor. And you have gifts galore in the back, and we will put your certificates in your bag.
and we also have a brief video for the Special Administrative Board that we will play for you.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board. I'm Dr. Wendy Winfield, Principal at Meadows Elementary School, and I just want to give you all a big shout out for all the support you give to Riverview Gardens and our scholars.
Hi, I'm Dr. Candace Ramey. I am the Assistant Principal at Meadows Elementary School.
And I'm Kylie Bell, the Student Council President. Thank you for all you do.
And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Hello, I am Dr. Amita Williams, the Director of Michelle Obama Early Childhood Academic Center, and I brought some little explorers to give you a message.
Hi, my name is Lyric. Hi, my name is Abarla. Hi, my name is Quincy. Hi, my name is Tinky. Hey, my name is Junior.
Special Administrative Board, we just want to say thank you for all that you do for the scholars at Michelle Obama Early Childhood Academic Center.
Thank you.
All right, once again, on behalf of the school district and the school community, thank you to the Riverview Garden School District Special Administrative Board. Next, for Riverview Excellence, we have some monthly honorees for the Riverview Excellence Awards. Today, we have 3 awardees. First, for the staff member of the month, for the month of March 2024, Ashley Phillips. Is Miss Phillips here? All right, Miss Phillips. Okay. Ashley Phillips is a registrar at Westview Middle School. She was selected as the staff member of the month. Her nomination included the following passage. She is very hardworking and helpful around campus, and her main focus is the education and self-betterment of each and every student she comes across. Her heart is pure gold, and she has the passion in the position that she holds. And so she was nominated as a staff member of the month. We'll make sure that she gets her plaque and her awards. Next, we have a Scholar of the Month. Can I ask if Miley Estefania Power Martinez of Westview Middle School will come up? And Miley, again, she's a scholar at Westview Middle School. She was nominated by ELL specialist Karuna Devetti, Ms. Devetti. And Ms. Devetti wrote, Miley is one of my ESOL students who showed marvelous growth in English language. Whenever Miley is asked to help the new enrolled students in making them understand the process of navigation in Spanish, she does that. She is always ready to explain with examples to her Hispanic friends. And so we want to award Miley here as the Scholar of the Month for Riverview Garden School District. We also presented her with a t-shirt. Miley, if you can just stand up here. And when her family's here, will Miley's family stand up? Welcome.
Can they take a picture?
Yeah, they can
Can
all
they come
come
up
up.
and take a picture?
Absolutely.
And the board take a picture with her
Yes.
as well?
Yeah, that's why I was gonna have her come up.
Miss Mott? Is the teacher here?
If you want to come around or if you want them to stand. You may not, board members, you may want to stand and stay there, those who are up. Thank you. Okay, before you all sit back down and then have to hop back up, we have one more award. And so we also honor, we have community volunteers or community partners or volunteer of the month. And so for this month, Miss Kim Lomax and Coffee KO were nominated. Miss Lomax, I'm always here. And Miss Lomax was nominated by Miss Beverly Goodman, the secretary at Danforth Elementary. She said that Coffee KO, or since they opened, they've been a great staple in the community. They are warm and inviting to all. They have familiarized themselves with all the schools and show grand forth great support. They make RGSD great by demonstrating strength and positivity to our scholars regarding entrepreneurship. And I will say that I've been to Coffee KO, it was recommended by several people in the district. I went and they get 2 thumbs up from me. So you're welcome. Thank you. Would you like to say any words?
I just want to thank the community for supporting a dream, because that's what it started as. It started as a dream, and you all have supported me. A year as a March the 4th, Coffee Co. has been open, and you all have shown me nothing but love, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. And that concludes River Review Excellence. I do want to point out to everyone who's here, you can nominate individuals, you can nominate Scholars of the Month, Staff Members of the Month, Parents of the Month, and Community Partners or Volunteer of the Month. So make sure you get those nominations in because we want to be recognizing people each and every month here at the SAB meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Sister. We certainly appreciate you. And I want to say, before I give this up, thank you to all of you for your kind thoughts and the gifts and your love that you show us. We truly appreciate it. And no amount of money can suffice for the support that you all give us. So we appreciate you. At this time, we want to call for patron participation. Mr. Melvin Williams.
Good evening, all. My name is Melvin Williams. I'm a 15-year resident. My name is Melvin Williams. I'm a 15-year resident of Bellefonte Neighbors. I'm a candidate for the River Garden School Board. I bring to you over 30-some years of education in many fields. I need you all to see my face. I have been in the St. Louis Public School District for over 30 years. I'm now retired, enjoying it, but after attending a number of your sessions that you have, I noticed the issues you're having. I dealt with that stuff 20, 25 years ago. I can't figure out why you're having a problem. I have so many milestones in the St. Louis Public School District. Before I retired, I was at the worst school in the state of Missouri and the highest poverty area in Missouri, Yeatman Middle. Our test scores weren't even listed. In 10 weeks, which is the first part, the discipline was under control. Teachers were not teaching. I was a disciplinarian. That's what they brought me in as. I was a cleaning person. Changed the curriculum to project-based learning. So the students constantly sitting at their desks. Changed attitudes, found resources. Those kids who were in the highest poverty area in the state of Missouri now were able to go on field trips out of the state. Now we have resources coming in, and when I was at one of your town hall meetings, I couldn't believe all the resources you have, community resources. If I had just had one of those, what I could have done with just one of those resources, could have turned my whole school around. So if I'm elected as a school board, I can assure you, you are going to see a change. And I thought about maybe I just need to apply for a position in the district and still come join the school board. But I was also a union rep, and being a union rep, I was in the dungeons finding laws that protect not only the teachers, but administrators, superintendent, parents, and students. That was my job. So I became an outstanding mediator. So as I sit and listen to your concerns, after 2 years, I just said, it's time for me to put my first foot forward and be an assistant to the area that I live in, because I know we can do better. And with that, I would appreciate your vote. My name is Melvin R. Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I realize that you're not in our normal meeting space, and so perhaps you did not get a chance to fill out a form. Any members of the audience who wish to speak before the Special Administrative Board must complete the form provided in its entirety and give it to the recording secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. A written or oral response will be given after the meeting. If a written response is needed, please allow it to 1 week, and this will allow time to gather the information or to answer any questions or concerns that you have. So at this time, if you did not get a chance, are there any other patrons who would like the opportunity to speak? Yes.
Do you want me to put that after or before?
You can fill it out.
After, okay. My name is Anthony Green. I am a now, I guess, five-year resident of Bell Fountain Neighbors. I just completed a conversation this week with one of my neighbors, and I don't have the stat that Ms. Lane gave us at one of the City of Bell Fountain Neighbors meetings about attendance. We have an attendance problem in the RGSD school district. Do you happen to have the stat that you said that in terms of how many 35% of students attend? Only 35% of our scholars attend 90% of the time. That's a lot of absenteeism. That's a lot of truancy. And for, you can ask Ms. Lane, I drive around the neighborhood a lot, Ward 1, for Bell Fountain Neighbors, Ward 1 through 4, and even Glasgow Village. And I'm just kind of concerned about that because I think your dollars are based on attendance, federal dollars. But I maybe I've already addressed this, but what happened back in the day to the truancy officers that used to go out? I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, y'all have about 50 to 80 vacancy positions. So you actually have room in the budget already monetarily. It's for other positions, but you got a lot of vacancies sitting on your budget. But I don't know if that needs to be a coordination between St. Louis County for the unincorporated part, which is Glasgow Village, along with Bell Fountain Neighbors. We're still looking for a police chief, but I think there needs to be a conversation of bringing that back, not as a punitive measure, but to remind the parents that there's a handshake between what they must do and the school district must do and law enforcement must do. I think there's a handshake somehow that's not getting done where everybody's pointing towards everybody else. And I don't think that's the solution. I think we need to bring the truancy officers back. I don't know how many we need. We need to knock on the doors. We know the students who aren't attending. We don't know necessarily why they aren't, but I'm pretty sure based on the records they have, once they register here and we are keeping the metrics on them in terms of attendance, we know who's not coming. So we need some additional feet into the ground, which is the truancy officer. I remember back in the day, I'm kind of old, but back in the day, we have a truancy officer that would be at the malls. So you're not gonna kick it at the malls. You're not gonna go down the gallery and kick it while you're supposed to be at school. Like there would be truancy officers at certain kilo. You're not gonna spend all day at Quick Trip stealing merchandise and bothering them. There was just certain things that were in place to make it a little bit unpleasant for you not to attend school. And I think we need to bring some of that back. Again, y'all may have already fully addressed it, but I was talking with a neighbor and unsolicited, she mentioned the truancy officer because I was already thinking about that and I hadn't heard about that. I don't know if the state of Missouri has gotten rid of it, but I think if we're having a situation where 35% of our students are attending just 90, I'm sorry, so that 35% of our students are attending 90% of the time, just 35, we have a serious truancy and absentee problem. And we need to kind of get the parents to understand that bringing their children to school is not something they opt out of, that they need to make sure their children are educated. They're here to receive it.
Thank you so much. And we will, after you fill out the form and give us your information, we'll provide a written response for you to let you know what the Guardians is doing.
He will receive a response. Make sure you have either your email address on there so that we can send you a response.
Thank you so much. At this time, do we have a student rep?
It's time for the student reps. It says me, but it's time for the student reps. Also, if the boards have any announcements. The student reps and then whether or not we have one announcement. Ladies? Is that another comment?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to allow this young lady to speak, and then we're going to have to move in because we have a very lengthy agenda.
Good evening. I am Melanie Blackshear. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak out of context today. I'll be sure to fill out a form. But I am a second-year kindergarten teacher at LeMasters, and I love my job. I am a substitute. Last year, my kids increased their scores, 65% of them did. This year, 97% of my students increased their scores. And I need to be retained as a kindergarten teacher at LeMasters. Again, I love my job. I am being sought out by 3 districts right now. And the opportunity is enticing, has nothing to do with money. It has more to do with certification. I have a master's degree and I am teaching those babies at LeMasters. When I arrived at LeMasters, I was blown away at the level of work they were asking me to provide. Yes.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate your remarks. But because that's a personnel issue, we'll have, if you will fill out the form, we'll be back with you with the
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, do we have a student representative?
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, and community. Moving forward, the SAB student report will be relayed in a different format. We've decided to divide the report into 3 informative sections. Student experience, which involves clubs and everyday life of students. Students events, which discusses past and upcoming events worth celebrating. And finally, student expectations, which presents any concerns students may have about our school. First up, we have student experience. On this upcoming Friday, our book club will be hosting another event. Jason Vassar Elon, a local poet, will be involved in a moderated Q&A with book club members. The conversation will be surrounding his hit novel Shrimp, which is about the African diaspora in a post-colonial context. Also, 2 DECA scholars, Mikhail Seitz and Michael Long, have advanced to the international level and will be attending ICDC, which stands for International Career Development Conference, in April, located in Anaheim, California. Second up, student events. To celebrate Black History Month, our school held a pep rally. In the pep rally, there were multiple showcases honoring the young talents at Riverview, such as our dance team, the Sensational Sapphires, the Lady Steppers, and RGSH Choir Plus Band. Due to the success within the event, a videotaping was posted to VOTP News, which is a great achievement considering we're usually only posted on social media in a negative light.
Now moving on to student expectations. And I want to preface this by saying, I've already spoken with Ms. Nave, our wonderful principal, and she has agreed to address this issue with our back check faculty. And what they're expecting is a proper back check process. So every morning, our students' belongings are thoroughly searched for weapons, prohibited substances / materials, and cell phones that are not locked in yonder pouches as per school policy. The issue doesn't revolve around the back checks themselves, but rather the disregard for students' personal belongings while undergoing these searches. Multiple students have experienced their book bags and/or purses being carelessly thrown across tables. They've experienced having their water bottles dented, and the alleged mishandling of handheld devices such as tablets or iPads that have resulted in damage. And we understand that bag searches will remain a part of our morning routine for the safety of our school, but treating our belongings with such little respect drives a further wedge between the authority and our students. And so in order to improve the amount of respect that circulates our school, I think that simply respecting students' belongings in the morning would help to push us in that direction. And this final message concludes our student report.
Thank you so much. Are there any announcements? Members? Yes.
Testing. Back as an alderwoman for Bell Fountain, our board voted on reestablishing a newsletter. And based on us reestablishing the newsletter, I made it my business to connect with the district and begin the process of getting communication in the newsletter. But as an alderperson, I stepped up to actually do the newsletter. So my connection with doing news and desktop publishing and working with the communications committee has paid off. This past weekend, I was voted as the Central Region journalist for Iota Phi Lambda Incorporated. So I will be serving as the regional journalist for 9 different Central Region chapter journalists to support communication. So I'm excited about that. So I just want to feel.
Okay, at this time, we'll come with the superintendent's report. Okay, I am doing the first part of the superintendent's report, and I have great news. I feel like running through the gym and dancing. I'm gonna read something to you. Ordered entered by District Judge Nanette Lowry, pursuant to Riverview Garden School District's request in the status report filed on January the 30th, 2024. This case is hereby dismissed in its entirety. And this is the consent decree that we have been under for the last 4 years. I am more than excited about this. We are no longer under the consent decree. However, we need to follow the rules of McKinney-Vento so that we don't end up back under another consent decree. So we are excited. I do want to shout out the Student in Transition Office, Mrs. Shummer, Vanessa Mallory, and Karen Graham. They did a lot of work for this report. This was a 35-page report that we had to turn in for the last 4 years, twice a year. It was a lot of data that we had to collect. And so this just means that we will no longer be monitored. However, we need to stay true to the McKinney-Vento laws. So for everybody that worked to make, because I told the team at the beginning of this year, I want to get out from under this consent decree. So all of the building principals and everybody who worked to make sure that we that this would be dismissed. Thank you for your support. I want to special shout out to Tina Adams Turnipseed because she helped us collect all of that information. She showed Mrs. Shumpert how to get it. I was on her phone many days trying to get data and get the information. So I ran around central office waving this paper the other day. So I wanted to mention that I would do a cartwheel, but then you'd have to call an ambulance. So I will not do that, but I am excited. Thank you all who helped make this happen. Thank you.
I too have, but I think it's a Yahoo announcement. Since the district lost its accreditation, the superintendent, even prior to me, members of the district cabinet, the board president, have had to travel to Jeff City every quarter to make a public report. As of today, Riverview Gardens School District no longer has to go up and make a DESI written report or go up and report. I have a couple of other announcements. As you know, we have been aggressively hiring individuals. Part of what I'm going to present tonight is the realignment of central services. However, I would like to introduce tonight some of our new and some of our advancing members of the Riverview Gardens team. So first of all, I would like to introduce our new executive director of student support services, Mr. Uladale. Also joining the Student Support Services Office as the district's interventionist is Dr. Melissa Nash. Dr. Melissa. Was from St. Louis Public School, where she was over what was full service school. And also, moving up the ladder, our own, our high school principal, Miss Tracy Day, will now Miss Day will now be joining the team as the assistant superintendent for leadership and accountability. John Preston to declare. Last but certainly not least is the new assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Ms. Tracy Buchanan. Ms. Buchanan comes to us from the Ferguson Florence School District, where she's had 10+ years as a part of the curriculum and instruction team. So welcome to Riverview Gardens. You know, this is Women in History Month. You see all these powerful women up here? And if any of you would like to make a very quick remark, if you have a very hefty agenda, please feel free to do so. Quickly.
I just want to thank you all for this opportunity to serve in this capacity. I've said before that I feel like I am Riverview Gardens, and I'm ready to serve all of the principals here as well as all of the schools. So I thank you for this opportunity to serve. And it is bittersweet because I'm going to miss, we're graduating together. That's right. It's bittersweet because I do love my babies, but I hope that I can just serve them in a bigger capacity.
I also want to say thank you for the opportunity. This is year 18 for me, and although the position has changed, the goal and the focus still remains the same. We're Riverview proud, Riverview strong.
I too want to thank you all for this opportunity. I have 21 years of public school education. I look forward to bringing all of my experiences, glows and grows here to the Riverview Gardens School District. I once attended this school as well as coach as a little leaguer, so I am excited and thank you for the opportunity.
like they said, I'm excited, and I thank you all for the opportunity to serve the community in this capacity. I'm just looking forward to getting started and getting to work. I think I've probably emailed Dr. Nichols and Mr. Ford several times asking about some transition days. So I'm excited to get started.
Thank you, lady. I'm gonna try to make my other announcements quick. Just to remember on August 2nd, we have Prop X, while I can't tell you, April 2nd. Don't forget to vote. I can't tell you how to vote, but don't forget to vote on April 2nd for Prop X. Some of our priorities are safety improvement, security enhancement, structural upgrades. And I know that there's people in the audience who are probably saying, well, what did you do with Prop A? So I'm gonna tell you what we did. We expanded early childhood to the point that we now have a waiting list. We expanded transportation for our students. The state says a mile, we go under a mile, and if there's extenuating circumstances, we almost go to the door. We expanded health services for students and families, and you know we have a school site health center at our high school. We ensure to continue the alignment of district goals and state standards, and we had a long meeting today about the work that the district is doing to move our scholars forward. And we also, the board approved on August 8th, a new piece of thing. It says we will strive to implement community and adult education programs. We have our PAC meeting sometimes every week in a month. We've had some 4 times a month. We just need our parents to come out. We want to enhance the salary schedule and retrain and recruit highly qualified staff. One of our goals for the CSIB is to increase our fill rate. We are doing that. Also, we did a compensation study, and within the last 3 years, our staff has received upwards of a 23% pay increase. Also, we wanted to strive to regain. We're striving to regain full accreditation, and while we're not there yet, we are chipping away, and we are no longer, let me say it again, we are no longer the bottom district in the state of Georgia. So, with that said, I encourage each and every one of you, talk to your area representatives, your senators, your people in the House, because the legislators, I won't say particularly Republicans, so you hear me say that, are really coming out against public education. There's the open enrollment bill. There's the early childhood bill, which is a good one. The early childhood bill, if it passes, will allow districts to get ADA for early childhood and monies for early childhood. There's a bill to expand special education and make it a separate, early childhood, like a separate district, like special school district. There are Senate Bill 799, which is the property tax rate freeze. We did a fiscal note to show you, if you go back and listen to the video from the last meeting, the number of staff that we would have to reduce if those personal property tax bills pass. So if you know legislators, please, please, please reach out to them and tell them about the impact it will have on our district. And last but not least, just a reminder to our board members that the MSBA spring virtual meeting is tomorrow via Zoom, and Ms. Bales has the link. It starts at 6:30 and it goes till 8. That concludes my announcement.
Thank you, Dr. Pruitt-Adams. At this time, we'll move to the items for information.
Thank you. The first item is the site-based data presentation, and this is tied to our turnaround schools and Office of Continuous Improvement. Today's presentation will be on Gibson, LeMasters, and Lewis and Clark Elementary School. Starting off the presentation is Ms. Barbara Sharp, Executive Director for Continuous Improvement in Title IX.
Good evening to the Special Administrative Board, Superintendent Pruitt-Adams, colleagues, and members of the community. Tonight, we are prepared to present our data performance at Gibson Elementary School, LeMasters Elementary School, as well as Lewis and Clark Elementary School. In the absence of the principal at Lewis and Clark, I will present her data tonight. So at this point, I will ask for my colleagues to come to the podium and to join me. So you will receive information. This is a continuation of sharing information, our work with Solution Tree. So you'll hear information about the 30, 60, 90-day plans. We're really focusing this year on the math performance. So you'll hear some information about the performance of mathematics in those schools, as well as some celebrations in addition to some attendance data. So at this point, I will have Dr. Crystal Henderson to come forward, and she will begin her presentation. We will entertain any questions that you will have at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. I'm sure. Bring it down low. Okay. Thank you. I was hoping I wasn't gonna have to hold the mic. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, colleagues, community, and scholars. I am Dr. Crystal Henderson, the principal at Gibson Elementary School, and I am presenting our school performance report to you this evening. The first part of the report is our 30, 60, 90-day SMART goals. And I just want to highlight a couple of the goals that we have listed for this particular school year. At this point in the year, at the middle of the year, for our leadership goals for our 30 days, our Guided Coalition has identified some instructional strategies that they want to use to include in instructional suites for the staff. Our Guided Coalition is also known as our building leadership team. I also want to highlight for the end of the school year that our June goal is for the leadership team to have a set routine for creating SMART goals, action plans based off of data that we review during our Guided Coalition meetings, and also determining deadlines for those action plans and communicating those plans to the staff. Some of the celebrations that we have had this year so far is that we meet bi-weekly, faithfully bi-weekly. We've identified instructional strategies that we do want to use for our instructional suites, and those instructional strategies now been turned into a walkthrough form that our Guided Coalition will begin using very shortly. And we've also moved our conversations from informational to a focus on data and results. Some school-wide celebrations that we have had so far this year. We had our semester 1 red carpet celebration. This is the first time we've had a red carpet that we rolled out for our scholars to walk down. They were so excited, cheering for each other. And we recognized students that made proficiency on their STAR assessment, and also showed growth on the STAR assessment, attendance, meeting the 90-90, good character, which is also our citizenship award, and for being referral free. We also had some positive behavior intervention support activities to recognize those scholars that are doing the right thing in the building, not just referral free, but also doing the right thing. We had Mad Science come out and do an exciting show for them based off of science activities. We had our scholars participate in the Billikens girls basketball game, which was very exciting for them. And we have a Mardi Gras dance coming up for those scholars who are referral free and who also have 90-90 attendance. Our next steps on our goals by April, like I discussed before, our Guiding Coalition has identified instructional strategies, but now we're going to get out into the classroom to see what instructional strategies are actually happening so that we can bring that information back to the team and then take that information back to our collaborative teams to discuss how to increase student achievement in the classroom. So we're not just sitting and getting. By the end of the year, we're going to have a set routine in place to create action plans moving forward into the 24-25 school year. We're going to talk about how we're going to meet the goals of that plan and determine deadlines to meet those goals, as we did for our 30, 60, 90 day. Those plans will also be communicated to staff. Next up, we have our 90-90 attendance data by grade level. I want to highlight grades 4 and grades 5 for their 90% participation. So you will see here presented in the presentation are those students that have met 90-90. Our grade levels 4 and 5 for quarter 1 and quarter 2 have remained at the top of the building for actually being there. Believe it or not, the 4th and 5th graders like to come to school, being there the most, and they have the highest 90-90 percentage in the building. Some attendance interventions that we are working on so that we can make sure that we do get our scholars here to the building. We are making sure that we are putting attendance contracts into place for tier 2 supports and incentives. So that's where we have our PBIS celebrations. We've included attendance incentives into that. And every month for those scholars that are 90-90, we do reward them through an incentive, such as we did Cookie Day, where they got to decorate cookies. They get out of uniform passes. They have also been able to participate in their own dance that was just an attend dance. And we have something that is prepared for every month of the school year so that we can recognize those scholars. We also are moving that a step forward to recognize the parents, because they're the ones that get those elementary students to school, get them up in the morning and make sure they're there. So we have made sure to include them by offering them Cardinals tickets. For tier 3 collaboration, we are making sure that we are meeting with those students on a regular basis and also meeting with those parents. Our attendance secretary is doing a phenomenal job with making those phone calls home to parents, to the point where we make a phone call, we'll have a student that will show up within the next 30 minutes to an hour. So that's how awesome of a job she's doing. Since we are focusing on math for this particular board presentation, my Math Smart goal for Gibson Elementary is that we are going to increase the number of students scoring proficient and advanced from 14.9% to 41% based on our STAR benchmark assessment. Some action steps that we have in place to ensure that this occurs is that we're using our beginning of the year STAR data, and we created tier 2 and tier 3 intervention groups that teachers are doing across the grade level and also in their classrooms for math, and using collaborative team time, that's the grade level meetings, to discuss implementation of tier 1 instructional strategies and resources that they can use in the classroom to make sure they are reaching all learners. And we are also progress monitoring our students to make sure that they are achieving growth. Some of the data that I want to highlight from our math performance for our beginning of the year STAR and middle of the year STAR, our 3rd grade did an awesome job on making growth from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. At the beginning of the year, 3rd grade scored 4% of their students proficient and advanced, and for the middle of the year, they've moved that by 9 points to 13%. Yes, we saw a little bit of decline in some of the other grade levels, but we have seen optimal growth this year, some of the most growth that we've seen in the last few years at Gibson Elementary School, and we do attribute that to the interventions that we have in place for tier 2 and tier 3 supports. So we really do want to recognize 3rd grade because they're doing an awesome job, and them coming from 2nd grade being in 3rd grade this year, this is the first year that they are going to take the math assessment. And so this is letting us know, based on this data, that we should expect some great gains on that math assessment. Some of the math interventions that we have in place in tier 2, tier 3, and tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 supports for students are differentiated instruction, small group instruction, using manipulatives and anchor charts, intensive small group instruction for those tier 2 supports, like I said, across the grade level. So all of 2nd grade is doing interventions amongst the grade level, not just specific to the classroom. And then our tier 3 supports for after school one-on-one intensive tutoring, and then progress monitoring, and also bringing in those family supports for conferences and even bringing them in up during the after school tutoring time just to discuss what's going on with their particular style. Thank you very much. And at this time, I would like to introduce my colleague, Mr. Travis Brown Jr. for LeMasters Elementary School.
Thank you for that. And she said, Julie, I'm very proud. And I appreciate when I'm acknowledged by Junior. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, colleagues, community, and friends. My name is Travis Brown Jr., the proud principal of Masters Elementary on the west side of Riverview Garden School District. I have to say that with my chest because we have pride on the west side. All right, as you've already heard this, my time is up. As you've already heard this evening from one of my kindergarten teachers, that we are doing some awesome things this year. And tonight I want to share a few of the strategies that we have put in place, a few of our plans, and some data so that you all can be familiar with the things that we have going on right now. Guiding Coalition. The first slide is our Guiding Coalition. We put that in place, and our Guiding Coalition is made up of a diverse group of teachers with representation from our elective teachers or our special teachers, that's our GM and our general ed teachers, Ms. Blackshear, who we heard speak this morning or this earlier today, is also a member of that Guiding Coalition team, same as the leadership team in our building. So that speaks volumes for her contributions and all of their contributions to the daily governance of our building. Our special ed representation on the Guiding Coalition, as well as our guidance counselor and our instructional coach. All right. The plan of our 30, 60, 90-day plan. I worked tirelessly with my solution tree coach. I have to mention him, Mr. Casey Arnold, because he and I spend a lot of time being very specific and very intentional about the things that we plan out in this 30, 60, 90-day plan. So I'll be brief and go over a few of our structures. So the 30-day plan. We developed what we call collective commitments. And we had this on our shirt at the beginning for a convocation because we were very intentional of letting individuals know what we stood for, how we were going to do our business every day. So we created norms. Some of the norms that we created were every day, every meeting will have a standard agenda. Our data team meetings have a standard agenda. So, and all of the information is included in that agenda. And those are just some of the things and some of the ways that we conduct our business. And it begins with our collective commitments. Our 60-day goals was to develop some 5 cultural types. It began with teachers accepting responsibility for students' learning. It's not parents' fault. It's not the students' fault. We are taking responsibility for students' learning at Lee Masters. As indicated.
Mr. Brown,
yeah.
Could you speak a little louder into the mic, please?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to have to bring it closer to me. I feel like David Russell is in this one. All right. So again, our 5 instructions. All right. We created a guaranteed and viable curriculum. And what that means is that if you look on DESE's website, you'll see a lot of standards. So what we did was our teachers in their data teams, in their collaborative teams, got together and decided which standards were essential for students to know. Is it important for students to know all the standards? Not really. But some are more important than the others. So we created a guaranteed and viable curriculum. We monitor by assessing common performance assessments at the beginning and the end of units. And we created a system where our teachers, and I'll talk about that later, can have the opportunity to observe each other with peer observations and observe best practices. And of course, we included a intervention / enrichment period on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. That's embedded in our daily schedule on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, not Wednesdays, because data team late start and Thursdays are our data team. So we created that schedule to fit our needs and also give our students the opportunity for enrichment for those who got it. They just need that little boost, and the interventions for those that need some additional support. All right, our 90-day goals, which I just mentioned, was the peer observations where teachers can observe best practices from each other and have the opportunity to learn from each other. All right, the status of our goals. Our collective commitments are ongoing, which means we continue to reevaluate and continue to work on that process daily. Our instructional types are in progress, and our teachers are involved in numerous professional development opportunities, and they are constantly identifying those essential standards and placing them in a Google Drive, which means if they're not with us next year, guess what? We still have those standards identified. So it'll be plug and play regardless. So we're building a system that's sustainable for the future. Also, our best practices, we have the tiered intervention groups. Now, when we say tiered, you guys hear that a lot, tiered. There's 3 tiers, and we have them for attendance as well. It is the first tier is all scholars. This happens for all scholars. Tier 2 is for some scholars, the borderline ones. And tier 3 are probably those ones that are, more severe and need more attention than the others. I just throw that out there because you're going to hear a lot of tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 interventions, because all of us are doing interventions. All right, so our school-wide celebrations. As you can see, I have a very young and lively staff on our picture. We are fully staffed this year. Thank you. We are fully staffed. We have a new AU program in our building that is, awesome. And we are welcoming and also providing our staff professional development and opportunities so that they are able to understand how to deal with students with autism. Okay, so we have a mission and vision banner visible in our school that we created. And it was a process, and we argued and we had tough conversations on language, but we wanted to make sure that it was something that we could live by. All right, next slide, I'll go through some of the data. Our attendance data. I'll start with the positives. Our 5th and 4th grader, as Ms. Henderson identified, our 5th and 4th graders are doing very well with their attendance. They are hovering around the 90% range. But our kindergartners, our 1st graders, I'm talking with my colleagues, I'm talking with parents, I'm talking with the teachers and I'm talking with my supervisors on ways, incentives, and things that we can do to get our little scholars to school, because really and truthfully, they don't have a choice of whether or not they want to come. So we're thinking of some ways that we're working. All right, I got probably a minute left. I'm a long-winded person. Sometimes. All right, so our interventions, again, here are those tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 interventions. And our attendance team meets weekly, and that consists of myself, my attendance secretary, our social worker, which is new this year. We have a social worker, and our home to school coordinator. All right. Okay. Our ELA goal was to increase our students' reading at or above grade level by 50%. 50% is a lofty goal, but at LeMasters, we have high expectations. So we're going to set our goal high, and we're going to try to get as close to it or get above it if we can. So we're going to do that. We do that by using data collections and assessing and interventions and enrichments, which is built into the schedule. Our ELA data. Okay.
So you know what? We work real hard. We're gonna tag team with this.
Make me steal the mic like that. For real.
We worked real hard. We could not get him to take the microphone. Now we cannot take the microphone. Thank you so very much. Let's give Mr. Brown a round of applause. As I said previously, we worked really hard to get Mr. Brown to the state in presenting data, and he really has been working with his solution tree coach and certainly has become very, very comfortable and an expert in terms of looking at his data. So that's a real plus. So in the absence of the principal at Lewis and Clark Elementary School, I'll just share just briefly. Let's move on. Okay, so she's identified her 30, 60, 90-day goals. They're presented there for you. I will share with you, just like most of the other presentations, she has a guiding coalition that is clear, and that is something that she's constantly working on. Where you see the red in the 30-day goal, it was a goal in December 5th, but they still are working on that with Fidelity. And so that's why they've extended that until March 15th. For her 60-day goal, it's a couple of goals that's embedded there. You have the 90-90 attendance goal. You'll see that when you get a chance to look at the attendance. And you'll also see they're also looking at a decrease in terms of suspensions. And then for the 90-day, it really is a combination of the three. School-wide celebrations, just like colleagues that have presented tonight, they've had a variety of different celebrations in terms of recognizing attendance, academic growth, etc. Here you see her 90-90 attendance. Obviously, in most cases, you see that students start out strong with their attendance in August and September, and then you begin to see a decline. So the first column represents the attendance from the previous year, and then certainly where you see the red, that is the attendance for this current year. So that's a goal, and they're still working to accomplish that. Here you see the attendance interventions by tiers. And just like with all of the other groups, everyone has some things that they're working on. Consistently, tier 1, that's for everyone. Tier 2, they're trying to identify some specific groups that they're working on. Here we have our math goal, SMART goal, and she has identified this specifically for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I'm doing really good without my glasses. Okay, So she's looking at making increases in those areas. This data here is really small, but at the top, you see the results. This is math data. So at the top, you see the performance data. This is from the STAR assessment from fall 2023. You also see at the bottom, the fall data from 2024. A couple of things I'd like to highlight is for fourth grade in the area of mathematics. We see that there is a pretty significant gain. There's about 34.6%. And then there's an overall gain from the previous year. We're looking at proficiency in that category, and that's about 3.1%. Second grade has demonstrated some improvement from the previous year. And obviously, there's still an opportunity for them to drill down and work more specifically with the scholars that they are focusing on. Tiered interventions, again, tier 1 is for the entire class, for all of scholars. And then you see the other interventions that they have. We'll take any questions that you have at this time. Thank you for this opportunity.
The next item is item 9B, Central Services Organizational Update for 24-25. This is simply the inclusion of those positions that have been reinstated and are added. Some examples are going from an assistant superintendent for student support services to executive director, from executive director of assessment to director, reinstating the position of leadership and accountability. This now includes the position of facilities food service and administrative assistants. You have this information. Are there any questions?
Testing. I kind of mentioned before that the team is going to be a real freshman team. And I'm just really curious about the support system to transition them and to really help them to be successful so we can get towards accreditation. What are we thinking about?
Mr. Ford has started the conversation with some of our newer employees who are coming to the district and set up transitional days with those individuals who are retiring. He will be arranging for myself and Dr. Patton to also meet with the people coming in. Ms. Liddell, who is the executive director, has already joined the district leadership team and has started her transition. I've been transitioning with Dr. Patton, and we will start transitioning with Ms. Nave one time because she's still at the high school starting next week. We will have the new assistant superintendent for CNI will also be a part of the interview process for data and assessment. Are there any other questions? The next item is the CSIP quarterly update. Tonight we have college and career readiness as well as staffing and workforce. Making this presentation will be Ms. Khadijah Cheejan for college and career readiness, Ms. Travis Ford Senior for staffing and workforce, and Ms. Sharp, in the absence of Dr. Nichols, will introduce the item. This is compliance with CSIP.
Good evening again. So tonight, this information is presented to you as for information. It is fulfills the requirements for the CSIP as well as requirements for DESE. This item has, as you're aware, there are 5 core elements of the CSIP. So tonight, and I'll just share those just briefly. We have collaborative cultures, we have attendance, student performance, which includes professional learning communities, college career readiness, staffing, and workforce. So tonight we will have presentations beginning with college and career readiness, followed by the staffing and workforce. After those presentations, they will also provide their summary, and then they will take questions from you. Thank you.
If I might interrupt, I was remiss when I made announcements Just a reminder that our district's theme night will be held Thursday from 5 to 8 at Westview Middle School. Please be sure to come out. Also, this is the third of our quarterly CSIP updates to the board and to the public. The one scheduled for June will be an overall synopsis of this year's work on the CSIP. Ms. TJ.
Thank you. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. JPA, colleagues, and community. My name is Khadijah Tijan, and I am the College and Career Coordinator for the Riverview Gardens School District. That's not my stuff. But it's okay. They're really pretty. They all look alike. Yeah. Did they ever?
It's two different presentations, I think, in there. The first one should be, the first one in here is workforce, and the second one is college and career readiness. She needs the second one.
There we go.
And I am going to ask, I'm sorry, one more time. We have several more items to go, and we have a board reception, and it's almost 9 o'clock. So I'm going to ask everyone to please be succinct, just like I was in your presentation.
Perfect. I can do that. Go back to the previous. Okay, so it's just kind of important to, when you think about college and career readiness, to think of it as the bow that ties all of those other pieces of the college and career of the CSIP plan together. And so it answers 3 questions, and I'm going to kind of go through them, but to keep it all in context. The first question is, how are we preparing our students for life after high school? What resources are available to them to support their post-secondary goals? And what is the equivalent in points toward accreditation? That's what it all answers. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a highlight of last year's points that we got towards accreditation last year for our MSIP points. So we got 10 in advanced credits, we got 4 in graduate follow-up, 2 in CTE expansion, we got all of our points in ICAP, and we got 10 out of the 20 points for graduation rate for a total of 40 out of the 50 points possible. Next slide, please. And so one of the data points that we are really happy about is the fact that we had a graduate follow-up. We submitted a data form of 218 students. We found 214 students, and that's really impressive. Our team worked really, really hard. And it shows several things. It shows that our alumni know that they need to come back. They can come back, and we're going to help them, and we're going to support their transition after high school. And where our graduates go. So most of our graduates do end up going to employment. Right now, one of our 2023 graduates is an assistant manager at Quick Trip. We have another one who's doing Builder's Block, which is an apprenticeship program. He actually sent me the video of commercial property that he was actually developing. We have several of our students at Amazon. We have 2 students at WashU. We have several at Lincoln. And we have a lot of them are at St. Louis Community College and SEMO. So as you can see, our students do go on to do great things after graduating from Riverview Gardens. Next slide, please. So when developing the CSIP goals, we place a lot of urgency on the fact that, and that's why you see by June, it's because our students graduate. That is a sense of urgency. So we need to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row and all of the resources necessary for our students to be successful because, again, they are graduating. So all of those are, so the main ones I'm going to kind of hit on tonight, just to be succinct, is 75% of our graduating seniors having a qualifying test score in either ACT, SAT, ASVAB, WorkKeys, things like that, because again, we get points for that. And then also focusing on the number of our students graduating with either college and career credits, industry recognized credentials, and also early college academy as well. Next slide, please. So this year, we kind of really wanted to focus on center a lot of the things that we did around 4 strategies. The first one is really just kind of aligning a lot of the practices and a lot of the things that we say we want to do to actually make sure that we're communicating those clearly to students and parents. We have to understand that we are still emerging from the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, it was very clear that we expect you to take the ACT before you graduate. We expect you to come to school. We expect you to have all these things, right? Well, when you kind of have virtual learning and you're emerging, we're going to have those practices kind of get lost. So now this year, some of the things that we've done is that we've made sure that, hey, students, these are all your course offerings that we have here at the high school. And if we don't have those partnerships, if we don't have the courses that you want, we have a partnership at St. Louis Community College for dual enrollment. We have North County Technical, so you can go, you can get your skill, things like that. So that's kind of some of the things that we've really been focusing on with students. In regards to staff, we've also having to retrain them on some of the resources that we have at the district too, because staff, you know, things changed. So this past February, we focused a lot on the tutoring resources and the academic support resources that are available to students and to them if they need it as part of those interventions. Next slide, please. So this strategy number 2, in terms of increasing dual credit and dual enrollment opportunities, this was actually a student-led ask. So last year when we were developing the CSIP, we had a focus group of students in all grades asking them, what do you need in order to be successful after high school? And a lot of them said, we would really like the opportunity to take more advanced classes and have dual enrollment or early college academy. So this board in August, you guys approved for us to have and start that program. And so we're really excited. And so far we have 7 current juniors who are on track to getting an associate's degree by the time they graduate. And that's something that you guys did. In addition to that, again, we are encouraging students to again apply for North Tech because we understand a lot of our students, and as you see in our data, a lot of our students do go on to work. And so we're like, fine, if you're going to go to work, you need to have a skill that you're going to get paid. So you need to go to North Tech, and we also provide those opportunities for our students as well. And in addition, if they don't go to North Tech, we have several CTE classes at the high school that students can take and participate in. So there's something for everyone, whether you're at North Tech, whether you're at our high school. And then also, we're also trying to expand our dual enrollment and dual credit opportunities for students just beyond St. Louis Community College. So Harris Stowe has reached out, and also we're starting conversations with UMSL again to give students options and variety. Next slide, please. And then our third strategy is really about interventions, because although we want to support our students who are already academically thriving, we also want to make sure that our students who need a little bit of help also have the resources and support to be successful as well. And it also focuses around increasing the number of students who participate in some of those post-secondary assessments that we get points for. As you heard earlier in the presentation, we did not get any points for CCR assessments, and that's because we just didn't have, last year, we really didn't have a lot of students taking the test. So in 2022 in class, we had 36% of the students take the test. For class of 23, we had 48% of our students take the test or take a post-secondary test. I'm proud to say with this class of 2024, we're at 65%, and we're still not done because I'm testing this week and all throughout the year. Meaning so they have plenty of opportunities to take work keys as well as the ACT, the district ACT on April 9th. So students have an opportunity to participate more. But in that, I do want to be very transparent. The average score of our students is a 13.7 to be exact. We need, in order to get those points, next slide, please. This is kind of an overview so you guys can kind of see how our points are calculated based on student scores. Next slide, please. We need approximately, next slide after that, please. We need approximately 40% of our students to score a 21 or higher just to get 5 points. So I'm a visual person, so I was like, let me just give you guys the math so you guys can see that. So if we have 30 students not taking the test, we don't get any points. So that's why it's important. And that's why I tell our students, you will not walk across my stage if you don't have at least one test on file, because we need that toward accreditation points. We need to have 116 students scoring at or below an 18, which will give us about 29 points. We need to have, again, 104 students scoring between an 18 and 21 on the ACT, 5 students scoring between a 22 to a 25 on the ACT, and 5 students scoring a 26 or above on the ACT. As of today, we only have 1 student who has a 26 or higher on the ACT. Which is great. So, and she worked hard for that. She took advantage of the resources that were available to her. And so, we have 1. So, and then right now between a 22 and a 25, we have 3 students who are between the 22 and 25. And then between the 18 and the 21, we have 10. So that's a huge improvement, because last year I only had 1 student score above a 21 on the ACT. So our students are growing in these areas. But with the data right now, with the average score being a 13 on the ACT, we have to be realistic, and we have to be prepared for the fact that we might not get our 5 points that we're hoping for, but we're striving to make it happen. So some of the interventions that we're putting into place, next slide, please. We're trying to partner and figure out ways of how to make ACT prep affordable, because that has been some of the goals that we've been trying to find. That's been some of the asks by the students, but it's not cheap, and we need to figure out a way where it can give quality, but also it can be affordable. A lot of our students did take advantage of the UMSL Bridge program last year, Stand Up Paris. And when they did, they scored on average 2 points higher. So on average, those students that did take advantage of the programs and the resources were able to do that. We're trying to expand that so that way we can increase points. We're also trying to do a lot more, like I said, over communicating. So every month, there's a student newsletter that's sent out from our assistant principal, and it includes the graduation wheel. And that tells them how many credits they need to graduate, what classes that they need to have, and what counts and what doesn't count. Also, our counselors do an amazing job of auditing transcripts. So every quarter, right after progress reports, which are due next week, they spend time and they're auditing, and then whatever student isn't doing so well, isn't performing, they're having those conversations with parents and students. And so you'll see that in the evidence folder of some of the letters that a parent will get if the student is not doing well. We've also been focusing a lot on the ICAP as well this year. So actually utilizing that data to our advantage to plan college trips, celebrations, and things like that to, keep encouraging the students that are doing well academically, but also incentivize those students who may not have performed well maybe last year, but need something to look forward to, right? So those are kind of some of the things that we have done. Next slide, please. So in summary, our team really just believes that when students have access to resources, support, and celebration, they can succeed and they can excel, and they have. And we have celebrated the students a lot this year. Between attend dances, we have whole bulletin boards with celebrating students who got a 21 on the ACT or higher. We have like your attendance is popping, like just little snack bags just to say, hey, we see you and we see what you're doing. To even those students who may not have may not be top 10, but hey, we saw that from last year to this year, you have grown academically significantly. So, and we see you too. We have just wanted to make sure that we let them know that we are committed to helping them and supporting them to be their best selves and promote that growth mindset. So with my, and again, this work isn't done alone. So will my committee for the CSIP for the College and Careers strand please stand? And also some are also virtual because again of the hour. So again, thank you to those who serve, and I will take any questions. Oh yeah, and so right now we're a little over 11 million, and that's like 3 times than what we had, almost 2 times what we had last year. Last year we finished the year with 6.8. I'm at 11.1 and counting because we had 3 scholars get the Royal Vagabond Scholarship over the weekend. So the money is coming. Because what is it? Scholarship season. That's right. Yes, ma'am. Oh. Go ahead, Greg.
I'll speak into the mic. The question that I have is, I clicked on your home visit door knocker. How many responses and do you
Yeah.
get back from that?
So far today, so approximately as of last week, we had over 213 home visits. So we can't get in touch, we leave the door knocker there and then they scan it and say, hey, we got that. So that's the 213, that's where that number comes from. And that was as of last week.
So the parent scans the QR code that
Mhm.
says, yeah, we know you were here,
Mhm.
and then. what?
So then there's a follow-up again, either by the home to school coordinator or by the counselor to say, hey, we've noticed that your student hasn't been here. Is there any resources or support that you need in order to get here? Because it could be, hey, you're sick. The student's been sick because COVID is still real. It could be like, oh, hey, we've had transportation issues. Could be a variety of things. And so that's the idea that parents know that, hey, we've been here, we're checking on you to make sure you're good, and also to remind you that attendance is important. Does that answer your question?
You gave me a number, but I'd like to know, and that's good,
Yeah.
number, but.
So what the process is.
Yeah, I mean. how
Right. So the
about
process
50%
is,
of the parents respond?
well, I don't know about 50%. I just know that there's been 213 responses on from the QR code. I don't know about like out of how many have been done. I can get that information too. Yes.
Great job.
Thanks.
A suggestion, the student is doing well, she may be able to help her peers. So that's just a thought. As far as the students that are scored in a certain way, has the team identified a correlation with how they're performing on in-the-course exams, as well as a baseline to determine if maybe a student is scoring well on the in-the-course exam, take the ACT and don't do well, and it be connected more to anxiety than their ability to do it correctly.
Yeah.
What have you all
So
found?
two things to that. So a lot of our students, as we saw, go to work. And so right now, as I'm testing work keys, I'm seeing that my students are doing really well. So I just finished workplace documents last week. And I saw a lot of 4s and 5s, which equate to points for us as long as they do 4s and 5s on the other two parts of the exam. And so what we're trying to do is find a best fit test for their post-secondary goals, because the reality is if you're telling me I got to take an ACT and I really don't want to take it, I'm not going to do well, and it's not really reflective of my abilities. So that's the first thing. That's the first step that we did. The second thing is that we have noticed that there is a correlation. So if you're not really doing well in math and you didn't do well in math on the Algebra 1 EOC, chances are you're probably going to need additional support around the math on the ACT. And the reason why that's important is because for A+ requirements, if you don't get a sub-score of an 18 on the math, you can't, and you don't meet the other requirements for A+, you're probably not going to get the A+ scholarship. So we kind of started talking to our math teacher about doing like a math boot camp, because maybe that's what will help students to kind of feel less pressure, less anxiety about doing a test. Because I think our students are like, I would do better if I had more ACT prep. I would go into it more confidently. And so we've, identified our teachers, like our English teacher, or not our English teacher, but our instructional coach. She has A+, not A+, but ACT certification. I just found that out. I was like, oh, great, you're going to do something before the April 9th. And, we're talking to our math teacher, who the students love, to see what we can do about a math boot camp. But yes, there is a correlation.
So if we find those 4 students for graduate follow-up, what's the window to still submit? Or
so that window has closed, but we've done, I think, still a really great job, because compared to other districts, we found most of our students and we're still getting all of our points. So we will, of course, always be here for our students. And I think that this is a testament to the relationship that we build with our students. They know we're here. No matter, we might be in different positions, we might be in different roles, but they are here. And I will say that there's a relationship with somebody at that school, whether they may not like Miss Tijan, but they may love Miss Nay. And so even if she's here, there, or everywhere, they know how to get in contact with her. Her email address isn't going to change. So she knows how to filter that to the right people. And that, I think, is one of the things that we as a district do well, whether you're at the high school, a middle school, or elementary school. We have strong relationships with our alumni and our parents.
Well, good job.
We're done. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues, community, students. I'm going to do my best to be succinct. I'm going to try. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. This strand of the CSIP is for workforce and staff. The focus of this strand is to make sure that we recruit and retain highly qualified staff. Move this in just a little bit. On this slide, you can see since June of 2023, we have really increased our recruitment efforts. That has been because of the addition of a recruiter for our district. So with our recruitment efforts, we have coupled them with the communications department. With the communications department, we have launched advertisement campaigns. We have done these campaigns on KMOV. We have just renewed those campaigns with Channel 2, and we're working on renewing our campaign with Channel 5. These campaigns, we get an opportunity to go in, to sit and have conversations on the news, highlight our district, and talk about the openings that we have. We also get a chance to talk about our upcoming hiring fairs that we have within the district. We've also participated in hiring fairs and developed recruitment pipelines with several of the universities and the technical schools. We built a partnership now with Rankin to fill those positions that we need that come out of those trade schools. We've also worked and had participated in hiring fairs with Lindenwood University, St. Louis Community College, the Black Educator Symposium, the Urban Expo, University of Missouri, St. Louis. And we just completed 2 at Mizzou. One at Mizzou was for people who are interested in coming back to the St. Louis area for all disciplines and all content. And then the other one was specifically for educators who are looking to relocate back to the St. Louis area as they're finishing up in May. Those fairs have gone well. We've also built our partnership with Job Connects. That is our program where we get our international candidates. From this year, we have 25 international candidates from the Philippines and from East and South Africa. At the beginning of the year, we participated in community events, back to school fairs, community parades to get the awareness out of our school district and to also talk to people in the community about some of the jobs that we have available and what we're looking for, and to answer any questions that they might have that we can answer at that time. We have some upcoming events. One of the upcoming events it's not upcoming anymore, but when I submitted this, we did a hiring fair with Maryville University on yesterday. We also have some coming up with Harris Stowe and Lincoln University. And we're also working with Job Connects again to bring in more international candidates to fill some of our vacant positions. Next slide, please. No, stay right there. On this next slide, you see our SMART goal. Our SMART goal for workforce and staffing is by spring of 2024, the district will increase the fill rate by 40%. And that will also reduce the turnover rate, and that'll be measured on our annual staffing report. Below the bottom is our data points. You can see that at the end of June 2023, we had 242 total vacancies over the district. That was 114 certified vacancies and 128 non-certified vacancies. As of March currently, we have 132 total vacancies. That's a fill rate increase of 45%. I don't get a clap for that. I thought I'd get a clap for that. So that's been something that's been really big for us. We had 114. We brought our certified vacancies down to 97. That was a 14% increase in the fill rate. But the biggest impact was in our support staff. We had 128 vacancies. We now only have 35 vacancies in our support staff. And that's a 72% fill increase. Next slide, please. The next slide talks about some of our strategies. Our strategy 1 is to maintain a wellness program for employees. I'll summarize this strategy. We have the action steps to the side. We have partnered with the Student Support Services department
and to fill this wellness coordinator position and to work on this wellness strand. With this, they have gotten a grant through Project Aware. With partnership with them, they have collaborated with us, and we have been able to hire a wellness coordinator. With hiring that wellness coordinator, we're now having events, wellness events throughout the district. Some events had already been happening, but now we're also able to coordinate the schedule. So we're starting to build a schedule of all the wellness events throughout our district, and that'll be coming forth soon. We've also worked on our teacher lounges, our wellness spaces. In those wellness spaces, we were able to get massage chairs last year. Now we're looking to amp up those spaces and to make sure it's really an inviting place for our staff members when they need a moment to reset. We have already set out surveys to get information about how the staff feel about those wellness lounges. Our Project Aware coordinator and our wellness coordinator have also talked with staff. They've done walkthroughs in those lounges, and now we're looking to transform those lounges and add some additional pieces to those lounges. We've also been communicating about our employee assistance program throughout the district. Next slide. Our second action step is about providing opportunities for feedback. This is something that the communications department has really taken the lead on. They have done our district-wide surveys for students, for young students, middle-aged students, high school-age students. They've also done those surveys for staff and for the community. They've also been leading with the superintendent, the town hall meetings, and we have an upcoming meeting that's to be scheduled. But we have conducted those meetings, and they've also been sending information out about the committees and giving opportunities for the community and for staff to be a part of committees within the district. Next slide. Our next slide focuses on training and support for certified and non-certified staff members. In this slide, we've really partnered with the professional development coordinator. The professional development coordinator meets monthly with the professional development committee. On this committee, they look at different ideas and talk about the areas based off the district's data that we need to have more training and support in. They've also developed the professional development plan for the district. And then the last piece was, how do we onboard our non-certified staff? One of the pieces that we put in place was for our substitutes and our instructional assistants who are going into the classrooms, becoming long-term substitutes, to make sure that they have the training that is needed. We gathered information from our principals and from our substitutes and our instructional coaches about what is needed. So we built a program in conjunction with the curriculum and instruction department. With them, we have changed our onboarding processes for the substitute teachers and for the instructional assistants, where when they finish up their normal onboarding with human resources, they then have sessions with the curriculum and instruction department where they learn about lesson plans, the lesson plan expectations, how to go through and follow those lesson plans when you walk into a classroom. Long-term substitutes get information and training on classroom expectations when taking over a full classroom for the year, making sure they have an understanding that you will need to participate in parent-teachers conferences. You will have to complete all the grades for students. You will have to have those conversations with parents. They also get another session where they learn classroom management techniques. So this is something that we have created with them. Next slide. The next strategy is about training and support is really about celebrations for certified and non-certified staff. In this section, we have already paid out our perfect attendance awards for the first semester, and we're working on the second semester. We're also started planning a celebration for perfect attendance. And this is something that hasn't been done in recent years, but other ways, as opposed to just getting that stipend, having another time and an opportunity, even at convocation, to say, we recognize your efforts and we appreciate you. We've also worked on the support staff of the year. This is something that the professional development committee has also taken on to put in conjunction with our teacher of the year. Now they have built out the process and they have already gone through and selected for the different buildings the support staff member of the year in order to recognize those members. We've also worked, the communication department is also working to make sure that they recognize more staff members throughout the district. This is something they do every board meeting with Riverview Excellence. They also do it in the 5 Things You Should Know. They also do it in the podcast. Next slide. The next slide is about increasing salaries and benefits. One of the action steps in this slide was to look at opportunities to reclassify 9-month employees and bring all of our part-time staff into full-time. This is something that we've already done. We brought that to the board. The board approved that our 9-month instructional assistants and also our 9-month secretaries be reclassified. The secretaries were classified to Secretary 2, which gave them 12-month status, gave them board paid benefits, and also gave them additional work days. And they can also get professional development on some of those days with the MIS department. We've done the same thing with the instructional assistants. They have been reclassified and from 9 months to 10 months. They also now get board paid benefits. They also get increased days and they get an opportunity to have more professional development. We are also looking at researching the funding for opportunities of tuition reimbursement. With looking for that funding, we have built partnerships with local universities. One of the partnerships that I want to highlight that we've been able to solidify is a partnership with Lindenwood University. This partnership has given us an MOU that grants all of Riverview employees a 20% discount on any online or hybrid classes that they sign up with for Lindenwood University. And it's in any content area. And then we are still researching opportunities to make sure that we have an opportunity to support the staff and do more funding options. In summary, our committee for workforce and staffing, we are really committed to retention and recruitment. We believe that the recruitment and retention of exceptional staff is the most important thing that we can do to make sure that our students have what they need throughout the district and in the classrooms in order to be able to reach their highest goals. We will continue working on those things, and this is our objective to make sure that we meet the goals of MSIP 6. Are there any questions? Thank you.
I was just gonna say, great job, and it would be good to update that strategy forward to reflect the correct one, because a lot of times when individuals are benchmarking and wanting to see different strategies, they will refer to other district documents. So I would suggest that we update it for the public.
It is also on plan, you're absolutely correct, because CSIP is a living, breathing document. And so when the presentation is made in June, they will be moving wherever they are, they'll be asking to move forward with those goals.
Thank you.
The last item for information is the Glasgow Urban Farm Project. Making this presentation is Ms. Cassia Lambda, principal at Glasgow Elementary.
Okay, I'm not that tall, so I'm just take the mic. Good evening, board members, Dr. JPA, community colleagues. Tonight, I would like to present for information the Glasgow Urban Farm Project. Prior to COVID, through our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, we worked with a gentleman named Mr. Pearson, who has an organization called Phi Global LLC. He started up a gardening club at Glasgow with the students from the Boys and Girls Club. So he would come in. We have a courtyard with garden beds. He helps students learn how to grow fresh vegetables, how they could eat the foods that they grow, and learn about healthy eating. So we would like to begin and start back up that project with some of our students. Instead of it being through our partnership with Boys and Girls Club Glasgow, we'd just like to do that with a select group of our students. He's offering to come in and do that for the remainder of the spring into the summer with our enrichment summer school program. So we would like to start that program back up again. The funds are budgeted for that out of title, so it will be at no additional cost. Are there any questions? Thank you.
As we move into our items for discussion, our first item is the American Rescue Plan for Homeless Children and Youth. Making this presentation is Ms. Lakina Curtis, who is over what?
Okay. Sorry. Good evening, SAB colleagues and community. I'm excited since we're out of this area with particularly the lawsuit and everything, but we have additional funds with the American Rescue Plan and Children and Youth Grant. This grant was signed into law on March 11, 2021 to support the specific needs of children and youth experiencing homelessness. Riverview Gardens plans to use these funds specifically for transportation, meaning transporting students to and from school during the regular school day, and any specific particular extracurricular activities that those students may be involved in. The grant is for $144,224. We are recommending and asking for the SAB to approve this grant, and it is going to later be presented this evening for approval. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Our next item is the Project Lead the Way grant. Making this presentation is Dr. Jocelyn Larry, and she too is. This item will also come back later for approval. Good evening. If I didn't have on these skills, I'd be 5'2".
I am simply here to inform you of the receiving of a grant from Boeing Company in the amount of $50,000 to implement and expand the Project Lead the Way program at Koch, Gibson, Westview, and Central Middle School. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you for the grant. The last discussion item is stipends. Can you see that? Signing and referral stipends for the 24-25 school year. Making this presentation is Mr. Travis Ford Sr., and this is in compliance with policies GCBA and GEDA. Mr. Ford.
Good evening again, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues, community, students. This item is being brought because recruiting is one of the most challenging situations that we have right now. It is challenging, not just with Riverview Gardens, but it's challenging district-wide. Last year, we had the opportunity to offer stipends, hiring stipends for $2,000 and referral stipends for $1,000 for people for candidates who came into our district within a certain window. It was very effective. When you look at our data last year, we were able to hire 140 new staff members within that window because I won't attribute everything to it, but the hiring stipends and the referral stipends was a big part of that. So I am requesting this year that we have the opportunity to do the same thing. This request is that we will have the opportunity to do the stipends for hiring at $2,000 and the referral stipends at $1,000 for any review staff member that refers people during this time for the year, so that we have an opportunity to fill all of the vacancies that we still have left. I said it early in our presentation that we have 100, and I believe I said 32 open positions still. We want to fill all of those positions. For this, I am requesting a $200,000 budget amount in order to be able to do that. Are there any questions?
I had a thought. Is it possible for community members to engage in this process without it being a compliance issue, to do some type of referral? Because I think that there are community people who can make some really good referrals from other districts, and retirees from other districts that can come into our system and then not disrupt their retirement.
Can I just ask for clarification? Are you saying if a community member comes to work for us and get a stipend?
No.
What are you asking?
And
so if you referred someone, if they're not a district employee, are coming to work for the district, the way it is written is they won't be able to get a stipend. I think it's a legal thing, but I'll have to choose that. So we're paying people who don't work for the district. That's what's not legal.
That's it. Yeah, that's not. Now we can look at, but that's something that we can research.
Okay.
And that's something that we can still research those options with community partners, but for us to pay someone who does not work for us is not an option that we have.
That certainly doesn't stop any community member. I have a friend who's retired from a school district, and I can certainly tell them, go in and fill out an application. I'm not expecting any stipend. I'm not expecting it. I'm letting you know that Riverview Gardens is hired. You know,
They sure can, and they
You
should.
can refer,
We want them to.
just won't get a stipend.
right. And the bottom line is we're not looking for a stipend.
First of all,
Qualified people.
Thank you.
that's the last item for discussion, but I do, Madam Chair, if I may make one announcement. I forgot to announce that Election Day is April 2nd. Our next board meeting, which is April the 9th. At the conclusion of that board meeting, we will be swearing in new board members. On April 23rd, we will have a public hearing where members of the State Department will be here with us. And on July 1, we will no longer have a special appointed board, a special administrative board. We will have the Riverview Gardens Board of Education. And so this April 9th is the final transition of going from a hybrid board to a fully elected board. That's a major accomplishment.
Thank you, Dr. Pruitt-Adams. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to pull items A and B for separate consideration and approval of the remainder alphabets of D through M.
Do we have a second to Dr.
C through M? I missed
C
it.
through
Okay,
M.
C through M.
Do we have a second to Dr.?
Okay, I'm making a motion to pull A and B. There's some items that need to be amended on the minutes. To do a consent on C through M and then return to A and B. To make those corrections.
Okay. So, is there a motion to a second? I'm sorry. Second. The motion fails, so we accept the consent agenda as it is written. Is that what you're saying?
So there's a. Yeah,
Right.
so there's a vote that's recorded that is incorrect on the minutes. So the only way that we can do this is.
Dr. Mayor said, I don't know if the rest of the board is clear on it. There is some language in the minutes about a vote that has to be corrected because it is incorrect. That's why she is requesting to pull the minutes which are A and the minutes which are B. Not that they won't get approved tonight. She wants to, when it's time to do those, voice the correction that needs to be made. So you can state your motion again and maybe to get a second this time.
Okay, all right, I move to pull items A and B for separate approval and approve under the consent C through M.
Is there a second? It has been moved by Elliott and second by Pastor Harsley to remove items A and B from the agenda and approve items C through M from the items, for consent and return to items A and B after the. Shay, can we get a roll call vote, please? Yes.
Miss Laura Real and Zoom. She's not.
Okay, so now, we want to
A
look at
first.
items A and B and
We do
make
them-
those,
We do them individually.
okay, item A, let's make the, correction for. Can I get a motion to make the correction for item A?
Okay, so, I move to remove the motion under item for action for the meeting date of February the 13th. It states that there was a first and second motion and no vote taken. So, there's actually, nothing to record for that action item, so it should be removed. There was no vote taken. So that's under,
So are you asking that
So
the
that
whole
needs to be-
statement be stricken from the minutes?
there's no vote that followed that. So it really died.
Right,
because
it
there was no
died.
Vote.
But I think, and I'll defer to Ms. Fields, it was there because it was part of the open session discussion.
It just says motion was made by Nakiba Coleman to hold this contract undone. More information is requested for this item. The motion was seconded by Sharon Tisworth. No motion, no vote was taken. So we,
So are you saying
so
there
it's an
was
action
this-
item
It was
that,
an action item, but nobody
did
voted
not.
on it.
yeah,
We did vote on that.
for you to, explore, get more information.
Is that with,
That's the
undone?
second meeting.
So
This
you're
is
going
the
back to
first.
the first.
What is the,
This
what is
first.
the item in the first meeting?
The item was undone was under the item for action.
Right.
And
that
then a motion was made to get additional information and seconded, and it stopped there. This was
In the first meeting.
first meeting, yeah. And it was recorded without. Yes, I mentioned that it's February the 13th.
So what she's talking about is in that very first meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the undone agreement. And, I almost want to say Dr. Coleman asked for additional information to come back. And so I think the motion should have been tabled or taken off, but no vote took place, is what the minutes say. There was no vote because we were directed to come back with more information.
Yeah, so it can just say that more information was requested, but the motions were irrelevant because there was no vote taken on it. So I'm making a motion to amend the minutes to strike the motions and leave the statement more information was requested for the item.
I'm looking at our records person. Now you need a second finish.
Motion was made by Dr. Avant Elliott to, remove the motion from February 13th and leave the portion of language that says to return with more information. And it was second by National Arson. Take, please.
Yes.
Oh, you,
Yes.
I'm gonna ask that, when you are voting, if you would please speak loud enough so it can be on the recording. When they're, correcting the minutes, they need to be able to hear how people voted.
Okay, so the next amendment is on the February 27th minutes. Under the vote for ungun, it reflected opposition and I was in the affirmative. So that was a correction. It was 3 in affirmative and the rest were opposed. That would be under item for action for B, Ungun Institute. So it was 3 yeas, myself, Sharon, Tommy, but my vote was recorded under the nays.
I think because that motion was listed in the affirmative, they had to vote against it for it to fail. I'm trying to remember how that vote was worded.
Oh, it's not the wording. It has the yays and the nays, and they put my vote under a nay, and mine was
For
affirmative.
undone.
Yeah, for undone. Mine was affirmative. So it's a correction to.
She wants her vote.
It was corrected. I actually voted yay. It just was incorrectly calculated. So the motion under item for action, letter B, is for my vote to be under the affirmative with the yays. It was 3 yays and the rest were nays. Yes. Myself, Tommy, and Sharon.
Ms. Moore, really?
Yeah, so you all are still in the nay area. They had included my vote in that. Yep.
The motion failed. It didn't pass because 4 members voted against and 3 voted for. She's correcting her vote.
It was recorded in the wrong area on the minutes. Yes, so that's the motion to amend it to correct the my vote in the affirmative.
That's why it is also important to project your voice, because when they're trying to listen to the videos, and that's why, you noticed the last time I asked Ms. Moore Real to do a roll call vote, because if you don't say anything or you're talking really low, they don't know how to record the number of yays and the number of nays. That's, you need the rest.
The motion, let me make sure I get it right. Dr. Yvonne Elliott, the motion, Dr. Yvonne Elliott has motioned to amend the minutes to reflect her vote in the affirmative. There were 3 votes in the affirmative, and her vote was recorded erroneously to have her vote recorded in the affirmative. Thank you. Yes. Is there a second for Dr. Yvonne Elliott's motion? It has been moved by Dr. Yvonne Elliott, and second by Ms. Lane to move Dr. Yvonne Elliott's vote to the affirmative. You want to roll call vote? Oh, need a name. Roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
So the vote does not change. Just recording for her. And we've already voted for the item of consensus now. Move for approval for the items for action.
I move for item A, American Rescue Plan Homeless Children and Youth to be approved. I move for item A, American Rescue Plan Homeless Children and Youth to be approved.
Oh, so, second, for, to approve the American Rescue Plan. It has been moved by Dr. Von Elliott, seconded by Ms. Jackson to approve the American Rescue Plan for homeless children and youth. Motion to approve, the grant for Project Lead the Way. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to vote. Roll call vote to approve. It's out of action.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I need a motion to approve the Project Lead the Way Boeing. It has been moved by Ms. Lane and seconded by Dr. Von Elliott to approve the Project Lead the Way grant. Are there any questions? Any discussion? A motion to adjourn. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I couldn't understand when you voted on the grant. You gotta vote on the grant. Okay. Vote to, approve, accept the grant. Roll call, please, Shay.
Yes.
Yes. At this time, there's no further
No, there is a reception. And there's plenty of food, so I know it's late, but it's plenty of food. Please, please, please. And boy, you got tons of gifts.
I'll only motion to adjourn if you promise to go eat the food. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved by Dr. Von, second by Ms. Jackson to adjourn, and please go eat. Vote all in favor of adjournment? Aye.